Good morning. My name is Mr. Persoon, and today I will be explaining the past simple and the present perfect to you. At the end of this video, you will be able to differentiate between the both of them, and you will be able to use them both. These tenses are important. They're not boring as you might think now. They are very important because they can be used to manipulate you while you don't even realize that. Let's take a look at an example of this. In 2014, Barack Hussein Obama, then President of the United States, commented on a report about Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay is a very controversial place. It's a prison in Cuba where suspects of terrorism were held captive, and it was set up after 9/11. In that prison, a lot of torture happened. There are horrific pictures on the internet that you can look up if you want to give yourself nightmares. Today, however, we are going to take a look at the language that President Obama used to describe what happened in Guantanamo Bay. Barack Obama used the sentence, "We did a whole lot of things that were right,
but we tortured some folks."
We did things that were contrary to our values. Now, the word torture and the fact that he used that word does not bother me as much as it did to many Americans. However, the tenses of the verbs do. And for this reason, in this sentence, Barack used the verb did, he used the verb tortured, and did again. Those are all past simples. Let's take a look at what a past simple indicates. In the English language, you use a past simple to indicate that something happened and finished in the past. Most times at a specific point in the past. You build a past simple by taking the infinite of a verb and adding ed to the end. Some verbs, the irregular verbs, have their own form for the past simple. These verbs you will have to study. I have some examples here. For instance, the sentence, "I cycled home." If you use the phrase, "I cycled home," you indicate that it has happened in the past and it has finished. It doesn't matter if there is still a link with the present. I can also say, yesterday Gerrit Hiemstra wore a blue tie. Yesterday is totally finished. It shows you that it happened in the past and it's done. So what does Barack Obama imply when he uses the past simple in his response to the report on Guantanamo Bay? Barack Obama didn't use a present perfect. And that's important. Let's first take a look at an example of a present perfect, right behind me. I have won the match against my best friend. I am so happy. Here we see the tense have won. This is a present perfect. And it shows you that the have won still has a link with the present. You build this present perfect by taking the present tense of to have, so either have or has, and adding an infinite plus ed, or again, an own form. Let's take a look at another example. Dog has never bought a hamburger bed before. So, using this sentence, you show that it still has a link with the present. It is still important. He still hasn't bought a hamburger bed. If I had said, dog never bought a hamburger bed before, well, then he now has a hamburger bed. Past simple, finished in the past. Present perfect, still has a link with the present. Let's put them right beside each other and look at the differences. A present perfect shows you that the thing that happens still has a link with the present. That's why it's called present perfect. It can do so in three ways. Let's take a look at them. First of all, there's something that started in the past and is still going on, as I have lived in New York for 3 years. It implies that someone moved to New York 3 years ago and is still living there. Second of all, we can show that something happened in the past and the effect of it is still there. I was once bitten by a very nasty dog. It was the dog of my grandparents, and I still have a mental trauma because of that. and that trauma is still there. My grandparents' dog has bitten me. If I would say my grandparents' dog bit me and use a past simple, I would say that it has no effect on me whatsoever. Third of all, we've got experiences. I can say that I have learned how to ride a bicycle, meaning that I can still do that. Contrary to that, we have the past simple. Now, the past simple tells you that something happened in the past and that it's finished. So if I say I learned how to ride my bicycle in the past, it means that, yeah, it happened at some specific point in the past, but it's not really important whether I can still do it, ride my bicycle, today. With both these tenses, we've got some words that scream that you have to use either one of them. For the past simple, there are words like yesterday or 2 weeks ago. These tell you that something happened in a specific point in the past. For the present perfect, those are words like since, for, ever. They tell you that something happened or started in the past and that it's still going on right now, or it's an experience. We've got a whole list of those words. So what does this mean for Obama and the way that he phrased his comments? Well, he used past simples. So he indicates that something happened in the past and that it's finished. But Guantanamo Bay was still open. And, you know, those victims of that torture, do you think they agreed that there are no more results of that happening? Because the language that Obama used right then and there indicates that he wanted you to think that it did. And now you are going to get some sentences thrown at your screen. You will then have to decide whether you're going to use a past simple or a present perfect and how you are going to build these tenses. After each sentence, I will tell you what the correct answer was and why. Let's take a look at the first sentence. He, a Zamboni to work yesterday. We have to use the verb to drive. Let's take a look. Do we have to use a past simple or present perfect? Well, at the end of the sentence, we've got the word yesterday, telling you that something happened the day before today. So it's finished, specific point in time. So we have to use a past simple. If you see one of those words, those yesterday words, or 2 weeks ago, you don't have to think any further. Use a past simple. This word is an irregular verb. It's one of those verbs that you have to study. And the fitting form of this verb is drove. I hope you had that correct. I really do. Gerrit Hiemstra, work at Meteo Consult since 1996. Here we have the word since with a date right behind it. So you have to use a present perfect because since shows you that it happened in the past, but it's still going on right now. So Gerrit Hiemstra is still working there right now. So you have to use a present perfect. Look up worked in your irregular verbs list and you will not find it. It is a regular verb. What do we do with the regular verbs? We add ed to the end of it. So, worked. Right in front of it, we have to put a form of to have. The form of to have that goes with Gerrit Hiemstra, he, is has. So, Gerrit Hiemstra has worked at Meteo Consult since 1996. Bob, question mark. We have to use the words you and see. Here, you will use have you seen, because the sentence itself implies that the person who is asking this is still looking for Bob, so we still have a link with the present. Second part of this question, he, my Easter eggs a minute ago, and I really want them back. And we have to use the verb steal. Now, we've got a minute ago, so it happened in the past and it's finished. I know that Bob still has the Easter eggs right now because this person hasn't found Bob yet. That's why he's asking the question. But because it says a minute ago, we will have to use a past simple. Look up to steal in your irregular verbs list and you will find it. And the form that we need to use is stole. So Bob stole my Easter eggs a minute ago. Frank, in New Zealand 4 years ago. And we have to use the word live. Is there a word that shows you what tense you have to use? Yes, ago. Please don't be fooled by the 4. This is a different kind of 4. This is the number 4, not 4 as in F-O-R. Yeah? Please don't make that mistake, please, please. So we've got ago. Now ago is a word that goes with the past simple. So we have to use a past simple right here. It tells you that he lived there 4 years ago, but he doesn't anymore now. Look up lived in your irregular verbs list and you will not find it. It's a regular verb, so you have to use lived. That is the correct answer. Their minds. And we have to use the words they and lose. Now, this implies that they still haven't got their minds back. So we have to use a present perfect. It's still going on. There's a link with the present. Use a present perfect. Look up lose in your irregular verbs list and you will find that it is there and that the correct form you have to use is lost. What form of to have goes with they? Have. So, have they lost their minds? How could they do that is the correct answer you were looking for. Did you find it? I did. We, to Japan. I really want to go there. And we have to use the words never and be. Now, this person who is saying this still really wants to go to Japan. It implies that he hasn't been or she hasn't been there before. So we've got a present perfect on our hands. Never and be we have to use. Well, be is the king of the irregular verbs. We have never been to Japan. I really want to go there is the correct answer. In 1712, Thomas Newcomen, a steam engine to pump the water out of the mines. This, the world forever. In the first part of the sentence, we have to use the verb invent. That first part of the sentence has in 1712. That is a date. It's a specific point in the past, so you use a past simple. Even though it says that it has had effects on the whole world, you use a past simple because it says in 1712. He invent. Now, is invent an irregular verb? No, it's not. So you just add ed, making it he invented a steam engine. Going on to the second part, it has the word for in it. It has changed the world forever, because for tells you that you have to use a present perfect. Changed is not an irregular verb, so add ed to the end of it and you're set. You're done. You're good to go. You're going to ace your test. So if you have learned from this, note the present perfect, and you would like to learn more, check out the other fantastic videos that we are going to make, future tense.